Hey, gamers, how's it going? Daybreaker Rein here, coming at you through Video Scope with After Hours with Rein. Um, this has been a very long wait for this. I've waited for this game for about 9 months now. I pre-ordered the physical copy of the game through Limited Run Games, and I have kept myself in the dark about it. Like, I haven't looked up gameplay videos of it. I've tried to keep everything about it to a minimum. About only one person I knew talked about it, but Panzer Dragoon is a very important game to me because it's like probably one of my all-time favorite childhood games. I was very ecstatic about the remake. I do know that Panzer Dragoon 2 Zwei is also getting remade. I do not know if Panzer Dragoon Saga and Panzer Dragoon Orta will also get the same treatment. Fingers crossed that all of them do. I would really like to see a remake of Saga because I haven't actually ever got to play it because it's one of those weird, obscure, super rare titles that is just so hard to get a hold of now. But we're going to play the remake. We're going to hopefully try to get through the entirety of the game. It's not a very long game. I think my last playthrough of the original was like 40 minutes about or so, and that was excluding the opening cutscene because my Saturn disc has seen better days when I got that footage. But yeah, I did boot the game momentarily just to kind of mess with the audio. How's it going, Jozo? Speedrun. It's really hard to speedrun a game that's an on-rail shooter. Like, someone's gonna have to like show me how that's done, if there's like a method to it or not. You can watch the opening cutscene at the beginning, at least if this remake keeps it. Should I be reading this? Oh, dude, my insomnia has come back like super bad, like super bad. So yeah, I've been staying up until like 6 in the morning, and then sleeping until 3 in the afternoon. Yeah, I'm not happy about it. Trust me, I'm definitely not happy about it. But yeah, I figured, because I've waited for this game for so damn long that the first chance I get, I'm gonna stream it. So, even if a lot of people don't come by it, if people check out the archive, that's something at least. Oh, they're not. Are they not gonna play the opening cutscene? Oh, well, that's cool that they did that. So I probably should have been reading all that. I think it's pretty accurate to what it was before. I think it's just some like, oh no, it actually does. God, why on earth are Switch games so fucking loud? Turning that down, because goddamn, that's freaking kicking my ass. And yes, I left the original soundtrack on because it's an amazing soundtrack. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm super happy that they did that. If it's too loud, man, definitely let me know. Okay, for starters, I will say I'm not liking the flow of, like, well, for one, the motion blur of the cutscene. I'm not liking that, because that wasn't in the original. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I turned it down, because for some fucking stupid reason, Switch games are stupidly loud. And it's awful because, like, for Animal Crossing, for example, there's no audio settings. There's no way to turn down the in-game audio. Okay, I kind of... I'm kind of okay with the revise of the cave, but... I mean, it makes sense, all things considering. Because it was kind of weird in the original how he just, like, ends up in this, like... Obviously, it's some, like, ancient factory where they made the ancient technology. Yeah, man, just leave your freaking... Okay, I don't like how that thing moves. That's really weird. Why'd they make it move all weird? Oh, sorry. I hate that the Switch does that. Yeah, I'm not really big on the changes to this opening cutscene, like... And I don't know if it's just on my end, but I think there's an audio delay. Maybe I should have done it. This... this might just be my nostalgia, but I really prefer the original cutscene. Like, I did not like the jankiness of that at all. Like, the problem with the problem with that is that the motion felt so unnatural compared to how the original game was. God, why was the opening super loud? If it's too low, let me know. Because I did turn down the in-game settings. I can bump those up just a bit. But yeah, I have to say, like, I really didn't like that intro. Like, I just did not like the approach. Like, it felt like everything was going in, and maybe it's just because it had the original soundtrack over it, so I was expecting it to have the same cues, because the original cutscene is more in line with the music. So I don't know if that's a problem of the original soundtrack being on and the revised soundtrack is more appropriate. I'm not sure. But yeah, that was a little rough. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to judge the game just solely on that. I mean, there's literally like a minuscule amount of cutscenes. I'm really hoping some of the other ones kind of win me over, because that opening left a lot to be desired. I feel like a lot of the impact was not there like it was in the original. Like, it just, I don't know. Like, visually, it looks probably a lot better. I would even say that that's kind of objective, because like the original had like a really unique charm to it. But man, I'm getting to it. Okay, I did want to check one quick thing real quick, just to kind of see, so I know what the hell this is, because I noticed something in the options. I noticed something in the options saying performance mode. So I want to know what that means. Episode 0, super weapon mode. New gameplay options, Rumble, Classic, Reticle, Auto, Performance mode. Okay, so the performance mode is the 60 FPS, but that's turned off by default? That's really odd. So that might have been one of the issues? I don't know if that would affect the cutscenes, though. Oh, that's right, because this one lets you save, I think, between the stages. I wonder if it does do the same. I'm not going to try, because I know from experience with the original game, the easy mode only lets you play the first 4 stages. It doesn't let you play the last 3 after that. So we're going to start with normal mode. I am curious, though, if they kept that in with easy mode, though. Okay, we're not gonna watch that again, but I am genuinely curious if the cutscene is tied to performance mode, like the frame rate of the cutscenes is tied to the performance mode, or if that's solely for the gameplay. All right, so load times are a lot to be desired. Like, load times are kind of oof. I hope that they're better on the PS4 version. I'm probably just going to get the PS4 version digitally, since I waited so long for the Switch physical. Definitely to compare, because I would definitely like to see the performance differences between this. Yeah, that load time is, the Saturn version loads faster, and my Saturn has probably been through hell, because it wasn't even like the Saturn that I own isn't even my original Saturn. It's a Saturn I bought down the line. Wow, it doesn't even just, like, even after the loading, it doesn't just transition right into the level. That's kind of okay. I don't like that. I'll definitely say I would have liked it more if the sound was the same. Like, if they had the option for the classic sounds, that would definitely be cool. I mean, I totally understand that being probably a little bit harder to do. Oh, please don't tell me they toned down how many things you can lock onto at once. Okay, really? Did not mean to do that. I know a lot of people were really critical about the changes they made to this first level. I mean, from an aesthetic point, like, I get why they changed it, but I definitely would have preferred it if it was you just still flying over the open ocean to find a ruined city. Like, I think that would have still been way cooler. Yeah, again, I feel like this is my nostalgia, maybe, more than anything, but the new sounds don't sound as impactful. And this definitely isn't as impactful. Oh, see? Why would you show it? Ugh, God damn it. Well, that's kind of cool that the bosses actually get, like, it tells you what they are. Oh, God, man. The impact of that was totally lost. Oh, that's really upsetting. Okay, like, the perspective is really kind of fucking with me. Like, I'm not big on what they did, because when you did that in the original, it's supposed to go into, like, a first-person mode. I don't know, was that... Just really quick, I'm just genuinely... No, classic is fine. Did I change the perspective of the camera by mistake? Because that might have been what I did. Zoom in and zoom out. Is that specifically for photo mode, or is that selection up, selection down? Move, aim, push to center aim. Maybe that's what I did. Maybe I accidentally hit the D-pad by mistake. No, I just think that was his perspective change. Yeah, because, like, I'm having problems because, like, you're supposed to go for the freaking cannons, but I can't shoot them because freaking... Well, ain't that neat when my freaking dragon freaking blocks out Did I do... Oh, there we go. See? Okay, it was me. I accidentally... Okay. Okay. I take back my criticism. Because that was really screwing with me. Wow, that's pretty bad too. If they didn't loop the music properly. I'm pretty sure it looped properly in the original. I could be wrong. I'm honestly probably going to replay the original. I missed an enemy? Which enemy did I miss? Damn. Transmission from the patrol ship, sir. Target has been located in sector number 12. 12 ships prepare for battle. Inform ground troops position wire barricade. We must capture that dragon at all costs. I know that there's like little subtle things that they probably couldn't animate in the Saturn, but I don't know. It's kind of weird actually seeing how some of the ships have been reimagined. It makes more sense to like actually show more of like how they're supposed to work in quotes. You know, because again, there was limitations on the Saturn hardware back in the day, so God, man, you know, I'm going to be a little bit critical. They waited to have the most recent patch on the freaking cartridge. I waited 9 months to get this patch. And so I thought the game was going to be way more optimal. The fact that these load times exist really pisses me off because it is not nearly as bad on the Saturn. And let alone if you played the Windows port of the original game that's available in Panzer Dragoon Orta, yeah, you wouldn't even be experiencing that issue at all. Load times are freaking solid on that version. Yeah, that's a little annoying. Damn it. That's fine. I'm not shooting for 100% anyway. I like how they got that noise accurate. Pretty accurate for the most part. I don't know. I'm just really not big on the way that the gun sounds, like the laser sound. Like to me, it was just way more impactful in the original. Like it sounded strong. These fuckers like jump at you. I also don't like how small the shots look in comparison. They looked way bigger in the original game. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, the default laser should not look like super fucking cool, or you know, like as big and impactful as like the homing laser, but oh. Comes behind me like he does in the original. I hope he does. Okay, that's upsetting. It started the theme over. It doesn't do that in the original. Prototype dragon. Why didn't they just call it the Black Dragon like it is? Yeah, there is definitely some aesthetic choices that I am not very fond of. Like, I think a part of me feels a little jaded because I waited so long to play this. Um, but yeah, I'm really not liking some of the changes they made. Like, there's just stuff that is way more impactful, like in the original with the first appearance of, I guess, the prototype dragon. I don't ever remember it being referred to that. Like, maybe in the manual it was referred to that, but in game it was always referred to as the Black Dragon. Um, but yeah, like when the Black Dragon shows up, it's just like instant. Like, and it's cool too because like I said, like a lot of the original game is in queue with the music track. That really threw me off that the music repeated, because when you get to the end point of the desert after you fight the two worms and then the little ones show up, the music cuts, the music stops and doesn't restart. It doesn't pick itself back up. And then so it makes it more impactful because you're just flying out in the desert with no noise, and then the tornado hits, so like the sandstorm hits, and that's when the Black Dragon shows up, and then his music cues. So it's way more impactful in the original. Like, I feel like that was so unnecessary. Like, you could have left it where the music didn't restart, like, and still had the cutscene, but I feel like the cutscene kind of took a lot of that momentum out. Like, I'm sitting here expecting, like, oh, he's gonna come behind me, and he did, but not nearly as epically as he did in the original. Like, I'm gonna be really, really fucking nitpicky about this. Like, if you can't already tell, I'm probably gonna piss off a lot of fucking people. Like, so far, like, gameplay wise, it's not bad. Like, it feels slower. Like, a lot of things feel like they come at you slower. I don't know if they did that just to kind of more mainstream the difficulty because they thought maybe it would be too hard. But I don't know. Like gameplay wise, I'm enjoying it. Like, it's what I expect of a remake. Like, obviously they kept the gameplay the same. Um, but there's just a lot of things that, like, I'm not digging about the changes that they made. I know I say all this in spite of the fact that I spent the extra money for the physical edition when I could have bought the damn game on sale like fucking months ago. It's been on sale like all the freaking time on the eShop. Okay, well, I'm kind of not a fan of this either, that they changed the perspective so heavily here. Because originally, like, when you start this level, you're, like, down in the cliffs. So, like, everything's very close to you. I feel like this was kind of an unnecessary change. That you start, like, high up in the air. Because, yeah, because it was cool with, like, so, like, when this airship shows up, it was cool because he was obscured originally by the rocks. See, and that's also another thing I'm not liking. The fact that I have to change the camera's perspective to get a better visual. It wasn't like that in the original. Everything fit in the screen, so you never had to, like, worry about, like, camera perspective. Like, I get that, like, the game is way more higher resolution, so, like, I totally understand it from that perspective. I don't like that. That looks awful. Like, and that's another thing that I just thought about. This level was not, like, it's too bright. It's way darker in the original, so it makes it feel like you're actually, like time has obviously passed, like, and it's nighttime. Like, I know what I'm expecting the minute that this freaking VOD goes up on my damn YouTube. If people actually watch it, they're just gonna hear me bitch. Because goddamn it. I just, again, like, I feel like the brightness of this level is unneeded. Like, what made the original cool in that regard, like, the level was dark, but the enemies were bright, so they popped out. So it was like this, like, you know, meshing. Like, seeing that these cannons are just now from, like, the bright orange that they were to, like, this dark blue? Or whatever fucking color that is, because I guess, like, the way that the lighting shows it is that it's dark blue. I also kind of don't like the dragon noises when it gets hit. Like, I mean, I guess the argument could have potentially been made that the original noises could have been deemed quote-unquote annoying, especially, like, when you get hit in succession. But I don't know, like, I don't... The dragon doesn't sound like a dragon, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I just prefer the sound aesthetic of the original. Like, it's super nostalgic for me, all the noises in the original. So, like, don't get me wrong, like, I am extremely grateful that they at least gave you the original soundtrack, but God, I would have loved the option to freaking have the original noises too. Watch this, it'll be a freaking paid DLC. I swear to God, stop the music. Don't repeat it. prototype Imperial assault ship. Yeah, and see, these cutscenes for the bosses are completely unnecessary. I mean, I will say, like, I definitely like how much bigger they made this guy look. Oh, holy shit, yeah. Definitely changed the size up. That's for damn sure. He was not this big in the original game. Why am I not locking on? Can I only... Oh god, that's so specific. Okay, yeah, break off. Like, I will say that with this particular boss, I do like that. I do like the sense of scale. Like, because in the original, that is a critique I am fully willing to admit is accurate, is a lot of the enemies did not look... They didn't look bigger than the dragon. A lot of enemies, but again, you know, gotta think about the limits of the hardware. In this instance, this boss definitely, like, the scale is way cooler. But again, in my honest opinion, would have been way more impactful without that cutscene. Just have him slowly come in, like in the original. Like, ugh. I'm hating that I'm being so critical. And maybe, you know what? I'll say this. I'm being as critical as the people were for the Final Fantasy VII Remake, because this game... You know, I would say that the original I almost said Legend of Dragoon. Different game. I would say that the original Panzer Dragoon, although not the same in terms of, like, caliber... I would say that the original Panzer Dragoon, like, see, and that's another thing. You don't get to see the freaking boss explode. Like, that was one of the cool things in the original, is that you actually got to see all the bosses get destroyed. So, there's a lot of people who were really upset with the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Obviously, you know, splitting it into parts being one. The obvious, very heavy gameplay changes and everything else. But, like, I was not nearly as upset about it. But Final Fantasy VII, while it is an important game to my history, like, because, you know, I watched my older brother play the hell out of it. I never personally played Final Fantasy VII, like, all the way through on my own. So, I wasn't so, like, negative towards the changes that were made in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Obviously, like, for those who care to hear my thoughts on that, me and my good friend Xanthan did a 3-hour freaking podcast on that. That is available on my YouTube channel under the Just Another Gaming Rant series. So if you really want to hear all my thoughts about Final Fantasy VII Remake, definitely check that out, because I probably still stand by a lot of it. I haven't listened to that podcast in a while. Like, I haven't played it back to see if any of my opinions changed. But I definitely think I kind of smoothed out all my opinions in that podcast. But with this, like, I could feel and I understand why people are so nitpicky about these sort of things, and, like, I'm feeling that way with this, because Panzer Dragoon is important to me, and so it's like, to see, like, all the different changes, it feels like a lot of them were unnecessary. Like, I didn't need the boss intros. Like, giving them the names, you could easily fix that with having the bosses come in the same way that they did in the original game, but you could flash the name before the health bar shows up. Like, I feel like that would be a way more effective means than stopping the game for a cutscene. Because that was one thing about the original game. Like, cutscenes were so far and few between in the original game. Really only between stages there were minor cutscenes, just enough to kind of get you to piece together what's going on. But like that halting, that it has to show you the boss first. Like, it would be better if the transition was seamless, but it really doesn't feel that way. It feels like it's an unnecessary cut away from the game when the original didn't do that, when all the bosses were instantaneous. You know, like once you got to the end of the stage, the bosses showed up, and there was always that, especially in the earlier levels. Like, well, I feel like in all of the levels really, except like the last couple, the bosses, like there's that natural build up, like there's a calm before the storm, because several of the levels you get to the end of the level and the music stops, and so there's just a part where it's just all you hear is you and your dragon. You just hear the flapping of your dragon's wings, and so it's just quiet, and then you hear the noises of the boss come in, and then the music hits. Or the music, I think in the original, in the third stage, it was like the music starts so you know the boss is coming, but then you hear it, and then you see it show up on screen. So it's just like, just minor things like that. Like they could have easily made the boss introductions just as impactful as they were in the original, but like they opted for like the cutscene thing, and I really don't like that. Like, I just, like, it's cool to know the names of the bosses, because like I didn't know if there was like a fan thing. Like, I didn't know if there were actual names for the bosses or not. I haven't looked at the original manual in like a really long time, let alone, like, I don't know if there's like a strategy guide, like an original, like a Prima strategy guide for the original. So yeah, like, so I don't know if there were actual names for the bosses, but so that's kind of neat to know. Like, I feel it's kind of weird that the black dragon is called the prototype dragon. Like, I don't really understand that. Again, in the game, in the original, was always referred to as the black dragon, and then your dragon was always referred to as the blue dragon, and they still refer to the blue dragon in the other games as the blue dragon. So I don't, and it's kind of weird because, like, I don't know where Saga fits in, but Zwei and Orta are both before this one. This one's actually at the end. The first Panzer Dragoon is at the end of the timeline in the Panzer Dragoon series. I don't know where Saga fits in, so I could be wrong about that maybe Saga is after, but I do know Zwei and Orta are actually before. Like, I think Orta is the first in the timeline, and then it goes to Zwei and then Panzer Dragoon, but I couldn't tell you if Saga fits in with that timeline, if it's somewhere before the first one or however it was. They did a Shadow of the Colossus thing where they went backwards, because it's like, I believe, if I am to remember right, Ico is the end of the timeline in the Shadow of the Colossus like game universe. So it's like Ico is at the end, and then before that is Shadow of the Colossus, and before that is the Last Guardian. Okay, I'll say this. The lights around the cave, okay, that I'm fine with. Because it explains why the cave's lit up. So that I'm okay with for the most part. That's a better aesthetic choice that they did. See, I can praise it too. I can praise it too, I promised. God, man, I am taking a bunch of unnecessary hits, and I'm not meaning to. I mean, I didn't expect this to be like a flawless run. I wasn't aiming for that. I'm sure if I grinded it out enough, but goddamn. I mean, I'm glad that the damage scaling, it does feel like they did give you quite a bigger health bar. So it definitely feels like the damage scaling isn't nearly as brutal as it was in the original. I feel like that's one thing that's really tripping me up too, is I'm not seeing the projectiles. Because, like, I feel like if I try to play in the original game's perspective, it's not meant to be played in the original perspective. Like, it's almost like it encourages you to freaking do zoom in and zooms out, zoom in and zoom outs with the camera, and I kind of don't like that. Because, again, everything in the original, like, the workspace they had on your screen for the original, you could see everything. You were not limited to only seeing certain things when you're in certain camera perspectives. I kind of don't like this weird, like, yeah, like the weird... Guardian! Change that, so... Yeah, that was, a bit sad, honestly. In the original game with that boss, one of the things that was really neat about it was it would guard your laser shots with its arms. And kind of like in the same vein of like how the Metroid games do it, his arms would get more and more red when it showed that like they were getting ready to destroy it. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell that his arms were nearing being destroyed with that weird way that they did like the red hue over him. Like, yeah. I am not. I'm just gonna say this. I am not looking for things to hate about this game. I'm really not. I am pretty ass mad that I had to wait for as long as I did for my physical copy. Like, I understand. Like, we didn't see the pandemic coming. Like, I obviously understand that, and I understand that that's a lot of where the crux of the issue has stemmed from. Totally get that. I just I waited so long, and like I really kept myself in the dark about this. So like I do feel kind of bad that I did, because while I probably wouldn't have gone through the effort to try to cancel my pre-order by any means, I did think they did offer a window for that. um I probably wouldn't have gone through the effort to do that, but I would have been a little bit more prepared. Like I feel like I feel like the majority of this stream has just been me freaking being really, really nitpicky. Um, like obviously, are those things? Oh, yes, they are. It's just I could see them. I don't know. Did I kill that thing? Yeah, these are the levels where I 9 times out of 10 will not get all the enemies, because it's the later levels that like I have the least amount of practice. What am I aiming? What is it seeing? No, unfortunately, that's actually not the boss. Oh, this time! This time, the boss transitions in. Normally. Yeah, I feel like in certain aspects of it, I'm like fighting with the camera. It ain't over. I mean, I certainly hope they keep... Yep, there goes. Again, I'm really upset that they don't, like, show you the full extent of, like, the bosses being destroyed like they did in the original. I thought that was always one of my favorite parts. Wow, I actually got a credit for that. I'm gonna need them. Because, yeah, this next stage... Instructions from Unit 01 received and confirmed. All ground units mobilized. Initiate operations and secure the area. Get fucked! I don't remember there being multiple. I only thought that there was one of those things. I could be wrong. Again, it's been a bit of a minute since I played the original. So, I definitely will be revisiting the original because of this, though. I might just rewatch my freaking gameplay footage of it that I uploaded. Oh man. God, my hand hurts. Tap that damn button so freaking much. Oh, goodness. Oh. Okay, and I'm kind of fine with this change. I wish it didn't look like fucking freaking Venom. I can say that. I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's the last level, but I am glad that they did a little bit more with this to make it look more like an actual city. Because I will say that that was definitely, like, your brain sort of had to fill in a lot of gaps. I mean, unless they throw me for a freaking... Unless they throw me for a fucking curveball. There was not a boss in this level originally, so they might throw me for a freaking curve, and there might actually be a boss, but we have yet to see. Yeah, my health ain't doing so good. It's because I'm getting literally out. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not gonna get to frickin' actually do the proper final boss, because I believe that's locked behind you. You have to get through the game without continuing, if I recall correctly. Yeah, I might have to recontinue just so I have full health. Yep. Wow, it just like immediately queued the game over. Why would you give me a countdown? I wanted to use that as a minute just to actually research that. I don't think the ending changes. I just I don't know. I'll probably have to look at the yeah, I'll have to look at the like the achievement list and see. But I'm almost positive, if I recall correctly, there still not really doing too hot on health. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the ending doesn't change. It's just the boss fight changes. I think it goes on for a little bit longer, or that might just be a thing in hard mode. That'll have to be definitely something I look into. I've done it once before. I've been able to get through this game without continuing. But yeah, I will say this aesthetic. I like this because it actually shows that there's like more than just this weird city on the water. Because again, you know, limits of hardware and everything, they definitely leave a lot to the imagination in the original game. It's kind of a pseudo main boss. I think it's that thing. No, never mind. Those just release enemies. As I run into the bridge because I'm not paying attention. I don't know if that means I killed it or not. I'm not really sure. Because all these things kind of go into the water, so... I thought they were going to do something different on me and that they were actually going to freaking have it transition into the next episode. That actually would have been cool. I would have appreciated that. I think that that would have been cool just to combine episode 6 and episode 7. If it would take unit to full strength. Ugh. Oh, man. I wonder if they're going to have you type in codes for the different modes. Or if they're just like, it's just going to be something you can select in this version. That would be super nice. Because apparently they added episode 0. I don't know if it's selectable like after you beat the game or not. Episode 0 is like a secret thing that was in the original. You had to type in a code to access it. Wow, so they cut out an entire track. That's really upsetting. Super Dragon! Yeah, they cut out the tower track. That's... Holy shit! Okay, I don't remember... I don't remember the projectiles being that bad. Okay. Yeah. I figured as much that they... Yeah, because I want to say you get to actually fight the Black Dragon for a little bit more if you... Okay. capture that. I'm gonna be really fucking upset if they don't play the ending cutscene. Because that's not supposed to show until after the fucking credits. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. He doesn't drop the gun like he does in the original. Also, what's up, Brandel? Thanks for stopping by, man. It's like, how am I gonna get home? For the most part, that was pretty accurate. Well, that's cool that they did the credits in the original style. Man, but those cutscenes were really choppy. Like, it's almost like they were rendered in a lower frame rate, which is just really, really odd to me. Yeah, that was a little off-putting. Why did they not leave the ranking till the end? I feel like, again, that's so unnecessary. They didn't have to put the ranking that you get at the like before the ending cutscene. Like, because it didn't play until after the like, it didn't show your ranking until after the credits were done in the original. So, like, completely unnecessary, in my opinion, to have the ranking show before. I thought it was like a nice little, like, it made sense to play it after the credits. So you beat the final level, you watch the final cutscene, you watch the credits, and then it's like, boom, here's your ranking, here's how well you did. Which I actually did better the last time I played the original game, because I got the Dragoon rank. Sharpshooter is pretty good, though. That's better than some of the other times I've played, but god, man. Yeah, this thing is definitely a mixed bag for me. This remake is a huge mixed bag, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about how Zwei and the potential of, like, the other Panzer Dragoon games end up being, excuse me. Because as weird as it is to say, like, the game series is sort of like a cult. Like, the game series has definitely got a cult following. Like, it's not a game series that everybody's been following. And when it comes to Panzer Dragoon Saga, I feel like out of all 4 of the mainline Panzer Dragoon games, that's the one that, like, a lot of people who have played it, like, hone in on. That they're like, that's the definitive Panzer Dragoon experience, is Panzer Dragoon Saga. And again, I haven't personally played it. It's way, way, way too damn expensive to get a legitimate copy of the game. So there would be no way in hell I'll ever see that. But I'm worried now that if they remake Zwei and then they go on to try to remake Saga and Orda, I think they're gonna piss off a lot of people. Orda, really, honest to God, I don't think it really needs to be like remade from the ground up. Like, it remastered more than anything. Like, just give it a graphics overhaul, keep all the gameplay and the core mechanics the same. Like, you know, I don't think Panzer Dragoon Orda needs a complete overhaul, but that's just my opinion on that. So why I understand and Saga I understand, but yeah, like this, I think it's kind of a combination of things. Like between the long ass wait I waited to get my physical of this to play it, because I didn't want to buy it digitally and then be like, well, shit, now I've got a physical and it digitally. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. But yeah, man. I don't know. I'm kind of the mindset the original has a lot more charm for me. Like I don't know. I just I don't know. Like I see where, like, with certain aesthetics, like I understand where they were going, but I feel with a lot of the aesthetics, the aesthetic changes, it changes the overall feel of the game. Mainly just because it's like our amazing Discord community. Yeah. Congratulations. Congratulations. That was weird, kind of how dark that was. Oh. Also, is it a code, or did they change it? Did they change it? The secret mode is now at your disposal. Oh, it actually is a code. Son of a bitch. I would have thought they might have updated that and just been like, once you unlock it, so up, up, down, down, left, right, BB. Was that the original code? It's weird how dark this part is. Up, up, down, down. Expect next game of MPS team. Oh, okay. That was a little weird. I don't know why they felt the need to include that. Oh, that's why it was. That's why it was dark. The damn switch. Pandora's box. Pass the cheat code to enter. Well, where do I type in the cheat? Well, that's cool that there's an image gallery. Yeah, because obviously they weren't going to be able to show all their concept art and everything, and that's cool. That's neat. I like that they added an image gallery. Okay, speed up, hold right shoulder, left shoulder? Rapid fire, disable rider, easy boss mode, god mode. Changing those settings is highly recommended. Okay. I'm genuinely curious. I'm just gonna just in case, because I don't know if there's like a demo reel. I want to look up. So I believe episode 0 is a code. So they... Oh, well, that's some shit. They removed the rolling mode. That's unfortunate. Yeah, that was, rolling mode was... It allowed you to, like, move... Like, your dragon would barrel roll, basically. And it made it easier to dodge projectiles. You unlocked that after you you cleared the game at least once. So that's really unfortunate they removed it. Okay, well they did add episode 0. So I assume you do it from here. So up, 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 down, 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 left, right, left, right, left, right, RL. Maybe I have to do it faster. Up, 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 down, 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 left, right, left, right, left, right, RL. Maybe I have to do it in like through the Pandora's box, but it says just to enter it at the main menu. Up, up, up. No. Up, 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 down, 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 left, right, left, right, left, right, RL. There we go. Yeah, I figured I'd do it just to pad out the stream a little bit more. Just, oh man, dude. There is quite a bit that I have contingencies with. I'll kind of go on, like, I've kind of sprinkled all of it throughout this entire thing, but but yeah, let me, oh goodness. I think this is just like a score attack mode. It's like trying to get as many, like, try to get the best score you possibly can, if I recall correctly. I can't remember if in the original, if you hit every enemy, if it unlocks something. I can't remember. I think it was just something that the devs added in, like, if I remember right. It's kind of unfortunate that it's playing the arranged OST. Not a fan of that. Ooh, slow down. Slow down. Thought that was supposed to be fixed. I'm not exactly sure how long I'm pretty sure episode 0 has an end. Yeah, I'm not big on the weird shit that the camera's doing. Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, you kill things to, like, you're fighting against your health. That's right. I remember now. So I think this goes on until your health dries out, if I remember right. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the fact that the game keeps slowing down like that. Did I break it? The music stopped. Oh, okay. I was like, please don't be like that one Switch game that I can't... Okay. I don't know if that did anything. I don't know if there's like an online... If there was an online leaderboard for that, that would be kind of cool, but I don't think that there is. I don't think that there's any sort of online connectivity with this. Bosses destroyed, times defeated. Oh, okay. Accuracy, special shots fired. Yeah, it doesn't even list it in your status screen. The fuck's the point? Alright. Well, I knew I was going to be able to play through it in a single sitting. Like, it's, again, it's not a very long game. But, okay. For starters, I'm ass mad, and I will remain to be ass mad for a while that I waited 9 months for my physical copy. I understand that wasn't Limited Run Games' fault. That wasn't the studio's fault. That was just because the pandemic hit. None of us saw that shit coming. That fucked up like a lot of different shit. And there's still shit fucked up because of that. So that's not Limited Run Games' fault. I do have my criticisms of Limited Run Games. I think everybody does. I still use their service. I like their service. I like what they provide. There are certain aspects of it I wish they would change. Very simply put. So, in terms of like my concise thoughts on the remake, like I might high point this just so like I might like make a note of this like in the description of like when I upload this or whatever, just so people can kind of get more of a clear picture. There are aspects that I thought were improvements over the original. Obviously, the scale of the bosses, obviously with new hardware, with better technology, it's a lot easier to convey size, which is something that the original, obviously because due to graphic limitations and everything at the time, and the Saturn being just the weird cluster fuck of a freaking console that it was, obviously that there was a discrepancy there. So like a lot of the little aspects like that, you kind of had to leave to your imagination. Like you had to really fill in the gaps. When it comes to level design, they're the only ones that I really liked. I like what they did with episode 4. Because it made more sense why the cave was illuminated, because in the original, like it was almost kind of just illuminated for convenience sake, and like there wasn't really any solid indication of why it was illuminated. So again, you know, those earlier games, especially the original, like a lot of that stuff you sort of had to piece together like through your own imagination. But it was kind of nice to have like the visual aid to show like, hey, it's like this powered tunnel, there's all these lights, that's why it's illuminated. I liked what they did with the city level with episode 6. I think the city, I think that was proper, because in the original it's very odd how the city is designed, because it looks like it's just kind of sitting on the water. At least in this, they kind of gave it more oomph, so you definitely got more of an idea of like how the city is actually supposed to be laid out, and like how it's all interconnected and everything like that. Scaling was something, just kind of across the board. I feel like it's definitely that there are things larger than the dragon. So that's definitely to my liking. The cutscenes were awful. Like I hate saying it, but the original cutscenes are just so much better. They're seamless, they're flawless. They don't have any sort of issues with frame rate. If the frame rate was a little less jank, I probably would enjoy those cutscenes a lot more. But the pacing is really weird, because everything in the original was deliberate, and it was in sync with the music that played. Again, I don't know, like I might have to replay back through this with the arranged soundtrack just to see if that issue is fixed. But with the original soundtrack, the music's not syncing up properly. I don't know if with the arranged version they made the loops longer, or they actually looped the tracks properly in the remake. The boss intros completely unneeded, completely unneeded, and it upsets me that the criticism I had of the boss intros for the first 4 levels of the game, that issue was changed during the 5th level. Now granted, I don't think that the impact, even with the 5th level having the correct proper way to introduce the bosses, I think the impact was a little still stiff. But that was kind of like my big thing, was is just like the added cutscenes were completely unnecessary for boss intros. The game is so short, I feel like that's completely unnecessary. Like if the game was like 8 or 9 levels longer, I could kind of understand. Um, Especially like if they maybe like reused the boss at some point, or changed it up in such a way that it needed a reference. Like so like when it introduces the boss, so it's like showing the name and everything like that. Um so that way, like, oh, this boss is going to be different even though it looks like a reskin. That it's going to maybe play mechanically different. I think there could have been room for that. Like I would have liked to see a few more levels added, maybe some like original levels to kind of flesh things out a little more. It seems like, because it really didn't feel this way in the original, and maybe this is just kind of the way that I'm perceiving it, but in the original it didn't feel like the levels were kind of like their own entity. It felt like there was a lot more connection. I didn't really feel that this time. That might just be a perspective thing, but honestly, I feel like um the addition of maybe like 1 or 2 additional levels would have really benefited it. Um I know that there's that argument, like especially when it comes to remakes of this nature, that people don't want it to be changed, but because there were so many changes, like I feel like maybe an extra level or two wouldn't have necessarily been outside the realm of possibility. Um the sound effect design, I really don't like it. I really don't like the sound effects in the original game are just very, very nostalgic for me. And that's probably my biggest impact, is that like with the original sound effects in comparison to the new ones, it sounded like your main attacks, like the homing laser and the laser itself, had more impact. Like they actually felt like they had weight to them. Like it's a really weird thing to say. Like it didn't just feel like it was just, oh, a pew pew laser. Like it felt like it was an actual like blast attack. I hope that kind of makes sense. Like overall, it's not a bad remake. I won't go as far as being that guy, because I can turn the nostalgia glasses off. Like I wouldn't have bought the game if I felt that I couldn't. But uh, it's very, I don't want to say misguided because that sounds like I'm just taking a shot at the dev team, and I don't want it to come off like that. I feel like, I don't know, like it's just this weird feeling. I don't want to say that it's an ungrateful sequel because it plays verbatim like the original game. An ungrateful sequel would be something like that. It took elements from the original game, improved the system, but left the original elements in. You know, when they were unneeded because the improvements. So I don't really know what to classify this as. I don't want to say that it's a bad remake. I don't want to say it's a bad game. I'm upset that there are elements that have not returned. There were certain modes in the original game that I think, I don't believe have remade it, like the rolling mode, for example. There's a couple other modes. I'll have to look specifically because I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. Um, Episode 0 had to be added in later, so I think that's kind of oof too. Um, there's just a lot of stuff. Load times are a bitch. I don't know if that's just the Switch version. I'm really tempted to buy this game now on PS4 just to see if the load times are any better. That might just be a limitation of the Switch, but I don't know, man. I really, I don't want to say that all of this is coming from the fact that I waited so long to play this. I don't feel that that's the case. I feel I just have such an attachment to the original game. I wanted this game I wanted the remake to emulate that but improve upon it in so many ways. And there's just certain decisions that were made that I just don't feel improve it, that I feel modernize it way too much. Um because the original game felt more like a shoot 'em up, like something like Raiden, where it's very quick. Like you're not gonna be spending too much time, worrying about little intricate stuff. But it feels like almost to pad out the length of the game, they had to add those cutscenes, like those boss introduction cutscenes, and I again, I feel that that was completely unnecessary. The game didn't need to be padded out by any means. So I would have preferred padding if they added more levels. That would have been my preference. But um kudos for the addition of the original soundtrack. Like that was something that I was really happy that they did. I wish they would have added the ability to have the original sound effects too. I feel like that would have been nice. Just the option, like just to have it there. Like I don't necessarily know if there's any way aside from the soundtrack that they could get the original sound effects in high quality. Um, Knowing how just Japanese businesses work and everything like that, and they don't keep archives of a lot of that stuff. So I don't know if that would have been theoretically possible, but it would have been a very nice inclusion and a welcome one at that. So what you're saying with this game as a remake is how I felt for the RE3 remake. I wanted Capcom to approve of what we had, not downgrade. It's a good game, but a bad remake. And that's just the thing. Like, I don't want to say that this is a bad remake by any stretch of the imagination. It is obvious that a lot of love and care went into it, and I'm glad that somebody took up the mantle to remake this game because it's something that I've wanted personally to see because up until this remake, the original game, the only like more modern way to play it would be through Panzer Dragoon Orta. Like that would be literally the only way to play the original game on a modern console. There is like an actual physical disc for the PC, but God only knows like if it's compatible. Like it's probably something that like works on like 95 and 98 machines, but God forbid you try to run it on modern OS, just like any freaking PC game from the freaking past 15 years. Um, so yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I'm glad that it's out there. I'm glad that people got, for the most part, because if a lot of my criticisms are coming from the fact that I played the original so much. Like I feel like for those who are new to the series, like they're not gonna find the nitpickiness that I am, because like sound effect issues are like, that's definitely a nitpick. Like that's a personal preference. Like that's not, oh, like the new sounds are bad, sort of thing. Like, and the originals are so much better. Like that really just basically comes down to just preference. So, um, yeah. So I recommend it. It's it it would be really hard for me to recommend the original, because the only way to play the original on any sort of platform is if you own an Xbox One. If you own an Xbox One and you own a copy of Panzer Dragoon Orta, because the original PC version of the game is fully playable as a bonus unlock in Panzer Dragoon Orta. So that would be a lot of money just to play the original when this is available. It would be nice to see them put the original in the game as like a bonus unlock. Like if Medieval can freaking do it, like I think with remakes of this nature, like I think that is not a bad thing to include. Like I really wish we would see more of that. Like I know that there's probably like legality issues and all that kerfuffle, like especially in the terms of like we weren't going to be able to get the original Spyro trilogy on the Spyro Reignited trilogy, because there's probably a lot of shit there with like, like I don't know, like all the backstage stuff, but I'm sure that there is. It would definitely be something that I would like to see more of, because I feel while these remakes are not made to replace the originals, like the original, like in this instance, the original is not easily accessible. And so I would definitely like to see, maybe as an update, maybe as something down the line, that maybe the classic games get ported. Like even if it's not the remakes, even if it's not remastered or whatever the case may be, if they just get ports, like if they get a port, like honest to God, if they got a physical port of Panzer Dragoon 1, Panzer Dragoon 2's Y, and Panzer Dragoon Saga, and they put it on a freaking Switch cartridge, if they put it on a PS4 disc or whatever the case may be, I'd fucking buy it. If it's just, even if it's just the original games, especially in the terms of Panzer Dragoon Saga, that game is so inaccessible. It's almost needed that game needs either a remake or a port, because it's so inaccessible to a lot of people. Like Saturn emulation is not great. Like I've dabbled in it, I've tried to mess around with it. I tried to mess around with newer versions of the emulator I use and found that I couldn't get the newer versions to work as opposed to the old versions. So I I, I respect the fact that this is out there. It's not bad. It's not a bad game. I would say in my book, I prefer the original over this remake. That really is just personal preference. Like I have such nostalgia for the original, um, that it would be really, really hard for me to overlook all the obvious changes. Um, so yeah, that I think I'll leave it there. I hope that was enough of a rant for people. And again, I shout outs to the devs. Obviously, like, because obviously they're a studio that I haven't heard of before. So I don't know if this was like their first undertaking or if they've done other stuff on like the indie scene. I'll definitely need to look into that. But to do something like this is pretty ambitious, especially with how niche I would say Panzer Dragoon is as a whole. Like I would say that it's more niche than like some of the other like more like popular Nintendo franchises and stuff, like more popular Capcom and Sega franchises that have just been like dead for the past several years. Um, so it was very ambitious for them to do this. I'll probably encore rant more. I pretty much like I'd just be beating a dead horse. I'd just be repeating everything that I've already said. Um, I will say that I'll definitely probably play this more. I would like to see how it fares in handheld mode. Because I'd definitely be curious just for the oddity of it. Um, Aside from episode 0, there wasn't really a lot of noticeable like gameplay issues that I saw. I felt like I was fighting with the camera, and that just might be because they tried to do like a different thing with like the camera perspective. So I did feel like that was probably my only real complaint from a gameplay perspective, was that I felt like I was fighting with the camera more, and that it should have just tried to emulate the same perspective that the original had. Um, but yeah, I think that's all I have to say on it. But overall, I recommend. Again, the original game's not easily accessible. This is a fine alternative. Like, if you can't get your hands on a Saturn and you can't get your hands on the original game, if you can't get your hands on the PC version, or you can't, or you don't have, if you don't have an Xbox One and a copy of Panzer Dragoon Orta hanging around, you know, um, this is a great alternative. It's way cheaper to buy it digitally. I probably paid a little bit too much for the physical, but I wanted to have it because it's Panzer Dragoon. It's a series I enjoy, so like it's like I want to have all the physical media that's out there for it. So anyways, guys, um yeah, I didn't think that this stream was going to end up going as long as it has, but thank you all for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. I'm freaking tired. It's 4 o'clock in the morning here. I'm actually starting to get kind of sleepy, so I'm gonna head off now. I don't know what I'm gonna do next for after hours. I never know. All I know is what I'm hoping to do next year. Um, so I hope you guys all stay tuned for that. I hope to get like another stream or two in before I take my Christmas vacation. So hopefully that'll happen before the Christmas season, so I can wish you all Merry Christmas and all that good stuff before it actually happens. But I hope this month has been good so far for everybody out there, especially because we're kind of winding down a very strange and for some people awful year. So that's going to be it for me. So until next time, guys, as always, this has been Daybreaker Rein. I will catch you all in the next one. Take it easy, everybody.